Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome from Valerie and Scott. And welcome to all of you in the Zendo, in the virtual Zendo. I'm very happy to be back here again. I always enjoy these talks and your questions afterwards, the discussions. Today I am going to talk about case 4 in the Mumonkan. Maybe I'll start with a sound check. Can folks hear me okay? Okay, thank you. Case 4, the title is The Barbarian Has No Beard. So this is from the Gateless Gate. Most of you are familiar with that koan collection. It was written by Mumonkan and published in 1229, which seems like a very long time ago. And certainly there are aspects of the collection that seem very, initially at least, remote and foreign to us until we really look at it closely, and then it's so fresh and alive. Like all the koans in the collection, this one has 3 parts: the case, Mumon's commentary, and a verse that Mumon composed. So I'll start by reading the case. Wakuan said, "Why has the Western barbarian no beard?" Mumon's commentary was, if you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. If you become enlightened, it must be the real experience of enlightenment. You see this barbarian once, face to face, then for the first time, you will be able to acknowledge him. But if you say you see him face to face, in that instant, there is division into 2. And then the case. In front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity. Probably right now it all seems pretty obscure. So let's start with, who is this Western barbarian? And it's generally understood that this is a reference to Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma traveled from what is modern Sri Lanka, but was India at the time, to China. And this is why he was called the Western barbarian. He was not Chinese, hence a barbarian, and he came from the West. There are many other koans that ask, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? As in, what teaching did he bring with him? But here we have a different kind of koan about Bodhidharma. Why does Bodhidharma have no beard? So that's who the barbarian is. Who was Wakuan? He lived from 1108 to 1179. So this is not that much before the Mumonkan was written. He was a teacher in the Rinzai line. And so he died just 4 years before Mumon was born. And he was a disciple of Gokoku Kigen. This is the only koan in our curriculum that mentions him. And so I wasn't able to find out a whole lot of information about him, other than he's well known for a poem that he composed on his deathbed. The iron tree blossoms, the cock lays an egg, 72 years, and the cradle rope snaps. A very evocative image of the end of life. The cradle rope snaps. So, why does the Western barbarian have no beard? So, Kieran, if you are able to, I shared an image of Bodhidharma, which I think can help us to understand the significance of this koan. These are two different images, but any image that you see of Bodhidharma, he has a very thick beard. So why is Wakuan asking us, why does he have no beard? How can he have no beard? It's like asking, why does Carolyn have no nose? You can remove the image now. This is an example of something that Yamada Koun Roshi called calling black white. From a logical standpoint, it makes no sense. And I can honestly say there's a number of koans that are like this, and there certainly have been moments in my Zen journey when I wondered if there was some kind of relationship between this practice and brainwashing. I have read that when they brainwash someone, they say that it's possible to convince them that black is white. But of course, that's not our purpose here. I'm not trying to convince you of anything at all, and certainly not that Bodhidharma didn't have a beard. The koan is much, much deeper than that. And to get to that state, we have to ask, what does not having really mean? Or in other words, what does it mean to have? There's a famous story about Bodhidharma. It's a koan in another collection. About when he first arrived in China, likely sometime in the late 400s or early 500s of the Common Era, he met with Emperor Bu. And I won't go into the details of that encounter. That's for another Teisho. Suffice to say that the emperor didn't really know what to make of him, and finally asked him, "Who are you? Who is this person in front of me?" And Bodhidharma famously replied, "I don't know." Bodhidharma has no concept even of self, much less a beard. But what's most important to understand is that even if you are completely devoid of any Zen I, even if you are thoroughly attached to concepts about yourself, still you actually have no eyebrows, no lips, no breath, no beard. If you think back, for those of you that were there, to a Teisho that I gave a few months ago about Gute's finger, if you know that koan even, you might think that I'm contradicting myself. Wouldn't be the first time. With Gute's finger, this koan focuses on the aspect of this finger, the whole of existence. In the current case, we're focusing on the other side. No beard, no face at all, no finger, no attributes, no name, no country, no gender, no age, no skin color, no socioeconomic status, no political leanings. Two ways of describing the same reality. When we clearly see this not having, this no socioeconomic status, no belongings, and yet the whole of existence, how can we have any such thing as greed? When I see clearly that none of this belongs to me, then giving is easy. No beard, not having. This question resolves into the great doubt. I had it a moment ago. Where did it go? It was never there to begin with. I'm reminded of another case in the Shoyoroku. Case 57, Gonyo's one thing. Venerable Gonyo asked Joshu, how is it when a person does not have a single thing? And Joshu said, throw it away. Gonyo said, I say I don't have a single thing. What could I ever throw away? And Joshu replied, if so, carry it around with you. What if, instead of saying, throw it away, I say, give it away? Here, take it. Take this no beard. Can you receive it? How might I give it to you? How might I give you no beard, no face, no bed, no name, no opinions? You may look around you and wonder, what is she talking about? I have a face. I have a nose. I have a home. If you are a man, you may think, I have a beard. How can I receive no beard? Or is it actually that you already have this no beard, this no thing? You already have such an abundance of nothing at all. In the time that I have spent with Indigenous elders, one of the comments I often hear about Western culture is that we are obsessed with lack, while Indigenous peoples are aware of plenty. We are greedy because we're afraid of losing what we have, of not having enough. Whereas in Indigenous cultures, people freely share what they have because it belongs to the whole community. It's the only way they have survived, whether before colonization or now. It might help us survive too. When we see that we have nothing at all, there is no worry about lack or plenty, and we can share freely without worry. So about this case, Mumonkan said, if you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. If you become enlightened, it must be the real experience of enlightenment. You see this barbarian once face to face. Then, for the first time, you will be able to acknowledge him. But if you say that you see him face to face, in that instant, there is division into two. If you practice Zen, you must actually practice it. What does this mean? It's true that it takes some discipline, some commitment to get to your seat every day. It takes discipline to focus your concentration, to stay for however long you set your timer for. Is that what Mumonkan is talking about? Perhaps. But there's something more here. When you're on that seat, how do you know you are actually practicing Zen? Well, the forms of practice take discipline. True Zen involves something beyond just discipline. True Zen is alive. It's not just a rote recitation of one's koan or of counting the breath. True Zen practice is itself breathing. It is one, or mu. It is, why has the Western barbarian no beard? So how do you spark this aliveness in your practice? How do you feed that spark? It is simply this. You must pay attention and notice that the spark is already there. The more clearly you see that spark, the more you realize it engulfs you. It consumes the whole of existence. There is no room anywhere for a beard. Then Mumon says, if you experience enlightenment, you must have a real experience of enlightenment. What does it mean to have a real experience of enlightenment? You must see this clearly for yourself and not imitate others. It must be your own self which is engulfed. Your own self which sees from Bodhidharma's eyes. Bodhidharma can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. Even the Buddha can't do it for you. But it is true that a teacher can play a critical role in verifying that it's a real experience. Because it is easy to fool yourself. It is not so easy to be absolutely sure. Mumon then goes on to say, you will see him, but if you say you see him, it is divided. If there is a Carolyn here and a Bodhidharma there, that's two. And yet, look around you, all these faces on the screen. Bodhidharma everywhere one looks. Mumon also said, in front of a fool, do not talk about dreams. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity. In Zen, we use fool to refer to two kinds of fools. The first is someone who doesn't know what Zen is, doesn't know anything about the practice, or at least has not experienced. It's a bit unfortunate to use the word fool here. It's just someone who doesn't know. And in front of such a person, do not talk about dreams. Do not talk about there is no such thing as having or not having, or seeing Bodhidharma everywhere. Not a beard in sight. Simply put, in front of those who are not aware of Zen, be careful how you talk about your practice. People may think you are insane if you try to describe what you experience, or even what you're doing. And yes, that really does happen. Even amongst those who have heard of Zen, there are many ideas in this culture that are completely off base. And there's little point trying to convince somebody otherwise. That is just piling ideas on ideas. But the second type of fool is the fool who has forgotten there was ever such a thing as a beard. And for such a person, this talk of beards and no beards is just a distraction. It is completely absurd. The barbarian has no beard. It's adding obscurity to clarity. Saying the barbarian has no beard is adding a beard where there is none. Don't be fooled into just focusing on the surface. But if once you can reach deeply into that beard, then you can touch every single hair. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And you would like some questions, perhaps?
If there are any.
Okay. Any questions or comments? And there might be some online as well. Yes, Janice.
Hi. I was just wondering how the beard relates to attachment and being human and not being able to let go.
Maybe I could ask you to clarify why you think it relates to attachment.
Why what?
Why you think it relates to attachment.
I think it's not related to attachment. I think it's a tool to help us with attachment. And I'm seeing it as
Okay.
as more of a tool.
You could say that about any koan, really. Every koan has, at least every koan has tools in it that help us to clarify what our sticking points are. And so, where attachment, for example, to physical appearance or something, is a sticking point for someone, then a koan like this may resonate somehow.
So can I expand it into feeling love and then feeling loss, and then do I say that was already somewhat like not there? I mean, there is,
Yeah.
see what I'm getting at? Like there are things that are, to me, are there, and then you have to deal with them not being there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't refer to I wouldn't say that connection that I had wasn't there, or that, anyway.
Yes, no, I understand what you're saying. Um, there's a there's a there's a trap in getting attached to not there that people can fall into. And when that happens, then you lose the richness of one's lived experience. And that experience is real. It's we always talk in Zen about there being viewpoints and multiple sides, and at the same time that there is no such thing as a beard. If I reach out there and yank on it, someone's going to go, ow! That's very real. And it's not To deny that is to completely misunderstand what we mean by no beard. Does that help?
Yes. So our experiences are real, and yeah, thank you.
I think there's somebody raising their hand online.
Bill has his hand up.
Go ahead.
Hello, Carolyn. I thank you for this talk, and I was really moved when you said, "May I offer you this beard? May I give you this beard?" That everything opened up right there for me.
Mm.
I can't explain why. I don't want to try, I guess, is more like, but, yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Carolyn, Bill's referencing that point reminds me of something that we picked up on in our first book club meeting yesterday for the book Forests of Many Colors, the koan book by Joan Sutherland. And just in that first introduction, she says, I'm paraphrasing, but that koan study should bring us to a point of asking, how can I help?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm reading that book right now too, and absolutely enjoying it. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Sean has his hand up.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Good, thank you. I was wondering if you could say a few words about the meaning or throw it away and carry it around.
Mm. Well, actually, what I'll tell you a little personal story about that. A number of years ago, I had a very deep experience, and it reverberated for weeks and weeks, maybe months. And at one point in that period of time, it was early morning. I was walking up a hill in my neighborhood, heading towards the bus stop. And I was just grinning like a silly fool, and I couldn't stop. And it was getting out of hand. And as I was walking up the hill, I kept saying to myself, let go of this grin. And every time I would say that to myself, the grin would get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's my answer to that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else online that has a question? I can't see from here.
Not you. Feel free to use the chat too if you don't want to speak. Ah, I see another hand.
Mark Leggett.
Go ahead, Mark. Oh, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, Carolyn, for your talk. Can you tell me if I'm sort of on the right track in thinking about the statement that Bodhidharma has no beard? If I say that, it reminds me of the Heart Sutra when it goes on and says that all the obvious things that we all have, we don't have. No memory, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. That basically no to everything. Is that kind of hinting at the same truth?
Yes. Yeah. One comes across that various times in Zen. But as I said earlier, that's what we call the essential world point of view. And it's an important point of view to see, but it's also an important point of view to get beyond. And I think this koan invites us to do that.
Thank you.
Rihanna.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi.
Thank you for your talk. I had this experience of sort of feeling like you were taking me on a journey in the forest, and for sure in the beginning I was like, I don't understand any of this, and then I would get little glimmers of like, oh, maybe I'm getting something or some little opening. And then at the end, it felt like a cliffhanger. Like I couldn't believe you ended the koan the way you did. I was just like, you like I felt left like in front of this big open space of nothing. And it was an interesting experience of a koan, of feeling taken and then kind of like almost like left. And but I think in a good way, because it was maybe I felt a little bit like shaken up. But this last line, if you dig deeply into the beard, if you dig deeply into the beard, you can touch every single hair. So I guess if I have a question, it's like, if you dig deeply, could you say something about that digging deeply?
Well, isn't that what our practice is? But it's also I'm a very tactile person. And in the practice of Zen, we need to use all of our senses. So I like to remind people to use the sense of touch too. If my talk left you with a feeling of, oh, what's this all about? I think that's a good thing, because now you need to discover for yourself.
We're all entranced. There's well, unless there are further questions from the cloud.
Scott, I'll just say a quick thank you,
Yes.
Carolyn, of course, on behalf of all of us. But I really enjoyed your talk. Enjoyed the way you took this koan and just kind of opened up this nothing at all world, this world where there's just nothing to have, that it's already here. And then you offered some direction on how to go about exploring this world that's our native ground. So just great to have you back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.